Hi. Hi. You're here once again with Mark Edmonds at his studio, what is in Stoke. And today is a very sad day because, of course, the Queen has passed away. Well, that was yesterday. And I just thought I'd say, it's a bit sad. Well, it's very sad. I mean, she was an old lady and she was going to die, but we didn't really expect it, did we? And sorry about that. And I don't think it really matters what you think of what you thought of the Queen, whether you're a royalist or not. I mean, she's still a nice lady who did a lot of selfless things, and I think she deserves a mention. I'm sorry, that was probably not the most meaningful tribute in the world, but I'm not renowned for my eulogies being any good. So let's get into it after that point. And I've got a relevant question from Johnny Balthazar. And Johnny Balthazar, probably make more sense if I had the book over here. He asks, as an artist, you work with loads of different colours, shapes and size. That's a Foo Fighters album cover, I think. How would you go about creating a blend of purple and gold without overtaking the whole painting? Well, you don't. Gold and purple are royal colours, and they're those colours for a reason. And that reason is that, one, they're expensive, because traditionally royalty would always wear purple because it was the most expensive pigment to produce. And gold, obviously, gold's worth gold, isn't it? So they make a huge statement, and they go right out there, and any other sort of colour combinations you're going to use with that, you're going to struggle. If you use bold colours alongside, like a bold red or a bold blue, you might not get lost in the mix. It depends if you work in abstract. I mean, my specialisation is abstract. I don't always work abstract, but usually. So really the only thing you can do is play around with stuff. Gold you can mute. I tend to mute it. I do that by adding dark washes over the top of the gold. It tends to bring out some of the layers, and then you can create some quite interesting effects that way. And purple, the same. But if you mute purple, it usually ruins it, and it tends to look a bit crap. But, my advice is just to play around with the colour combinations, and obviously, just do a lot of sample pieces. And the more samples you do, you'll get a better idea of how to create the overall effect. Okay. Now, I've got a mention from Dr. Stephen Shirley from my last show, who disagreed with me and said that Guernica wasn't that important. He didn't really specify why, but he thought a more relevant contemporary example of a painting or an artwork that was culturally relevant was relevant to Jasper Johns, who was the other artist that I mentioned in the last video. And he, in 2018, he did a piece called Catalonian Bid for Independence. So you should check that out if you want, or if you don't want to, don't do it. However, I would say that Catalonia doesn't have independence, and I'm not sure how important Guernica was to the war effort, but as a PR propaganda piece, it was actually, I would say, it was pretty good. There's a famous story, of course, when the Germans went to Picasso's. Well, they had a German compliance officer going to Picasso's studio in occupied Paris, just to make sure he wasn't doing anything subversive. And when he encountered Guernica, because Picasso had a photograph of it, the German officer, I mean, I don't know how true this is, but it's quite a funny story. And apparently the German officer said, "Did you do this?" And Picasso replied in his very arrogant way, "No, actually, you did." Don't know if that's a true story, but it's quite a funny one. Ha. Okay, so that's my video for today, and I hope it's answered some questions. Well, it's answered a question, right? A very specific question about colour and form. But really, on a serious note, sample pieces are the way to go. Don't always have to start massive paintings and then go, oh, I've ruined it. You know, I work on little tiny boards about this size, and that's one I'm starting. It's not a sample yet. I use them to mix the colours in the resin first, and then apply it to the painting. And then after a while, they start to create their own sort of image. And I've got an example. I've got an example of a couple here, and the really good ones I frame. So you know, you can then turn that into a very small artwork if it's good. Yeah, and not all of those boards start as sample pieces, but you know, that's what I tell customers when they come into the shop. So I hope this has been informative, and you guys take care of yourself, and see you later.